No home, and now maybe out of a temporary one, a fast-approaching deadline for Sandy victims being put up in hotels by FEMA out as soon as Saturday this week. So what was with all these politicians back-padding last week?
I was pleased, and it was my honor to work in such a productive effort that really focused on getting things done.
I just want to thank the governor for his leadership from the very beginning.
And we have all worked very closely together, and I'd like to thank the governor for his leadership here.
He has not stopped his advocacy from the moment the storm hit New York.
Senator Schumer has really done great work, and I want to thank him on behalf of all of the people of the state of New York.
Except maybe the people who were affected by Sandy. Add in a report of FEMA trailers sitting idle as close as Pennsylvania, and Staten Island resident Chris Janusis has had it. Chris is on the phone. Chris, what'd you make of this?
Well, thanks for having me, first off, Neil.
Thank you.
You know, I just feel it's unfair. You know, luckily enough, I have family that I can stay with. FEMA has denied me any kind of rental assistance or temporary living. I'm assuming that's because they left them somewhat of 3.5 hours away from us after bringing them from Texas and wasting our time and money and their efforts. You know, it's completely unfair. And it's, 10 days before Christmas, after everything that people have been through, you want to take away what you've given them temporarily. I think they should let the people start receiving checks from their insurance companies, maybe some progress in their house before they give them the boot.
Well, if you didn't have family, Chris, would you have been able to benefit with his temporary housing or hotels that some other Staten Islanders have been able to take advantage of, whose time might be running out, by the way, but would you have been able to qualify for that?
You know, in the beginning, we just assumed that we would stay with our families, and then we did the process just like everybody else. You know, we applied for our rental assistance, which we got denied. They didn't offer us any kind of temporary living for me, my wife, at the time, couple of week-old baby, my 2-year-old daughter. They just said, keep checking the internet. Even though we had no internet, we had no power. That's their answer, is just check the internet.
Chris, we're hearing we should reach out to FEMA. We couldn't get a spokesman avail. We tried the governor's office in New York, Governor Cuomo, to no avail. But there is apparently, I'm told, a procedure to this. I'm not up on it. But FEMA says it's the governor's call whether they want to extend a deadline or for housing assistance or temporary housing assistance. But whether the governor does that or not, it would only be for another few weeks tops. So we'll be revisiting this in a few weeks. If FEMA knew that this was a distinct possibility, and even FEMA predicted that this could drag on this housing situation for thousands of your friends and colleagues for many months, you would have thought there would have been a contingency plan to deal with that.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I assumed people were only going to get for temporary times. I didn't know how long. There are no answers. Everybody's on their own. I mean, you wander around all day long wondering what's the next step. And that's what's unfair to the Americans.
Well, Chris, what does FEMA do? I'm sorry, but what does FEMA do in your neck of the woods? What do you see FEMA doing or FEMA representatives doing in Staten Island right now?
Wasting a lot of people's time and making them aggravated, because all they do is they come, if they come on the block once in a while, they bang on the door, they want to ask you questions. Did you fill out your loan application? Oh, looks like all your paperwork wasn't done right. You have to appeal. But then you ask them questions, and they really don't have answers for you. They just tell you, well, we only help if we can, and, you have to fill out the paperwork the right way. It's kind of like harassing.
Amazing.
To get someone to knock on the door once in a while to make you, to harass you to fill out a loan. It's kind of like having a car salesman stop by your house once a week and ask you if you want to buy a car. I mean, if you got my answer, it's beginning to get that bad, and some of these people, they don't want, if you're not going to help us, I got to get over it mentally. Leave me alone. I'm doing my paperwork. Don't come and remind me every day or every other day, or if it's once a week, whichever house you decide to stop at today. Why do you got to remind me of everything that's happened? You've already established you're not going to help me. I'm not getting any answers from anybody. I'm tired of asking questions. It's just frustrating. And they go on about it every day like it's nothing. You got all these political figures running around, standing with people that are voluntarily coming out from different states and the volunteers. They're just civilians. They're not our city coming to help us. They're not our government coming to help us. These are just normal people. And it's our city officials and government that walks around these people waving with big smiles like, look at what we're doing. But realistically, they're not doing anything. What'd you bring? You brought trailers from Texas and left them in Pennsylvania? I mean, that's unfair. And now you want to stick these people out on the streets, and you're saying there's nowhere to put the trailers. Well, you know what? There was 208,000 tons of garbage down the block from my house in a parking lot. Why can't, now that the garbage is gone, put the trailers there?
This is a novel idea. Chris, thank you very, very much. We bring this to your attention, folks, not to just bemoan public officials of either party, but certainly to remind you, while they're backslapping and saying everything's fine and hunky-dory, reminders from Chris and many like him. I mean, I could multiply that times thousands. We're not there yet. We're not here to blame, the president or Democratic leaders or Republican leaders. We're just pointing out, well, they're high-fiving each other. These folks are saying, like, hello, another hello.